Okay guys, I'm back again. This time with a quick unboxing, setup, and first start on the Ryobi RYi1000 inverter generator. So, before I get started here, I want to go ahead and thank the good folks over at the TTI group for sending this over for review. They are the parent company of Ryobi, as well as some other brands that you may recognize like Milwaukee Tools, as well as Dirt Devil Vacuums, Hoover Vacuums, and a lot of other reputable brands that are sold here in the United States. So just have these two straps to get off, and this is exactly how I received it shipped to my house. And as far as how you can get it, you can order it from the HomeDepot.com, have it come to either the store or your house, or you can go into the store and buy it. So, opening it up top here, we see that we have some foam protection, keep the unit nice and safe during shipping. We have the owner's manual, and we also have some oil, so that's nice that they provide that for you. It looks like the only thing to get it started that you'll need to provide is gasoline. So let's go ahead. I'm just going to remove the two little foam pieces here. We have another manual, looks like, that was laying on top of the generator. Off to the side of the generator, a little baggie, and there's a few little foam pieces. But looks like we have a spark plug removal tool. We have a DC charging cable, as well as a multifunctional screwdriver. And then there's some little piece in here which may or may not be a funnel, little cardboard funnel. We'll check that out a little bit later. So remove the unit. There's two more little foam feet in the bottom there, and then the unit itself in this nice plastic bag. Alright, so I got everything unboxed. Everything was safe. The only thing I noticed is that there is some light patches of oil some places on the generator, and I've had this happen to me before. It happens during shipping, where the generator may have been placed on its side for a long period of time, and there's some residual oil inside of the engine from where they tested at the factory that can leak out of the air filter area. That's exactly what happened here. So very light oil, something you can wipe up easily with a paper towel. There's nothing wrong with the generator though. So what they have here is your choke, your on-off switch, which also controls the flow of fuel, and then we have our starting rope. So everything you need to start the unit is going to be on this side, but of course you're not going to be able to start the unit until you add oil and gas, which I'm going to do a little bit later on. So up front here we have the ports. Up top here we have our DC charging port where you plug in this cable. So just plug that in. It even has a little circuit breaker tied in with it in case you short circuit those leads. You put them on backwards, or you plug them in and both ends are touching each other. They'll actually trip a circuit breaker versus blowing a fuse, which I've seen with some other generators. And that's especially important in case you make a mistake out in the middle of nowhere and you accidentally blow a fuse. You're kind of out of luck. With this guy, you just have to reset a circuit breaker. To the right of that, we have 3 LEDs indicating power output. We have an overload indicator as well as a low oil indicator LED. Over on the left hand side we have our single North American style outlet. So 3-prong outlet, and it does have this nice little dust cover. To the right of that we have our auto idle on and off. For whatever reason from the factory it was set for on, so we're just going to turn that off because you don't want to start the generator with that on. Lastly, we have the grounding terminal, which for the most part, if you're just going to be connecting up with extension cords, you're not going to be connecting this up with a transfer switch to your house. You shouldn't have to worry about that, especially if you're running a cord to your laptop, some fans and lights during a power outage situation. If you are going to be connecting this up to your house, always consult a licensed electrician. They're going to know a lot more about that than I would. So you need to consult them if you are going to be hooking this up with a transfer switch. On the other side here, up top here, we have this little push-in panel, which requires a little bit of extra force. Actually, a lot of bit of extra force. This is where your spark plug is going to be, and if I can get it open for you guys, I'm not going to force it because I don't know exactly how it opens up. It may have some connection on the inside. I'm going to verify that, and I'll open that up later. But that's where your spark plug tool that I showed you earlier will be utilized. Around back, we have our exhaust. You'll notice that it has a protective screen on here because in case you accidentally grab onto that while it's running, that exhaust is going to burn your hand. So this plastic screen here is to protect your hand from hot exhaust. Down in the middle of the hole there is your tailpipe, and it has a little spark arrestor screen there, which you need to have if you're going to use this in a national park to prevent sparks from coming out of the engine and possibly starting a fire. So just be mindful that that is there, and when the time comes that you need to clean it, there's 4 screws at the corners there to take this cover off, and then you have to take a little washer off to get that spark arrestor out and clean it. Up at the top, we have our fuel cap, which just has a simple on-off operation for venting. So it's in the off position right now. You would leave it in this position if you were to transfer this in your car, and then once you get it out in a safe area outdoors, turn it on so that your fuel can vent properly. Also, we have a little miniature fuel strainer down there to catch large debris as you're adding fuel to the tank. And there's even a little nice design here. I don't know if you can quite make it out, but there is a channel designed to direct fuel away from the front ports in case you have some sort of fuel spill when you're adding gas. So let's go ahead, open this guy up, and add the oil. In order to get to the oil, we're going to need to take our screwdriver, and you can use either this Phillips head side, which I'm going to, or the flat head side. This little screw right here in the middle of the service panel will accept both sides. So twist to the left to loosen it, and then to take the panel out, I just make sure that this is in the choke position, and I use the extra space to stick my finger in there and pull that panel off. So once we're on the inside, this is your air filter. What we're going to do is we're going to put a couple of drops of oil on this air filter, which helps to filter the air better. More particles are captured, which will give you longer runtime and overall life with this generator. We also have the oil fill and dipstick area, which is also where you drain the oil, and that just twists out to the left. You may notice there's a tiny amount of oil on the dipstick, and again, that's from them testing it at the factory. I am going to use this little one-time use funnel to add the oil. So we're just going to open that up at the bottom there, make sure it's nice and round, stick that in the fill hole, open this end up a little bit better, and we're going to add our oil. I'm just going to take the screwdriver it came with, poke a hole in there, stick my finger in there, sort of wiggle it around, and I'm going to pour the oil in. So let the funnel dry out there, catch any oil that may come out of the funnel, and we're all set. So oil's at the bottom of the threads. We can discard it as funnel and go buy a cheap plastic one from an auto supply store and not have to worry about that little one again. But just to verify that the oil is in the correct amount, we're going to wipe off this little dipstick here. We're going to just stick it in. We're not going to twist it closed or anything like that. we're just going to insert it and verify that the oil is at these little marks here. So it's right at the top of this mark, and that is absolutely perfect. So you're going to go ahead and twist this in. Now it is a plastic dipstick, so you may want to do a couple of little turns counterclockwise just to make sure you're not cross-threading anything, and then that of course might cause an oil leak. So just make sure you're threading this in properly and tighten it down, get it snug, but don't try to, you know, go all Hulk on it, because again it's a plastic little dipstick. So also what we're going to do is we're going to take this air filter out, and there are a couple of clips at the bottom and the top. I'm going to undo the top clip just by pushing down on it and pulling the housing forward, which it's a little bit of a difficult process because it's in this tight area. So the top clip is loose, the bottom clip is sort of loose on its own, and then we just have to wiggle it out of this section. We can put our hand or our finger through this little hole and sort of very cautiously pull that out so that we don't break it. Then we have our air filter itself, which smells a little bit like gasoline, a little bit of oil, again from them testing it from the factory. What we're going to do is we're going to take the last little drips of oil from the factory provided container, get about that much on there, then we're just going to squeeze it around, making sure you get it on that back side, front side. If we got a little bit more oil left, I'll go ahead and glue up the other side. And this is to help keep dirt and other debris out better than the foam filter would on its own. So that's properly lubricated. Let's go ahead and put that back in. Make sure you don't try to stuff it all the way to the back. Just sort of place it back to where it was, and you should be fine. My hand is covered in oil right now, so I'm going to use our paper towel. Get some of that oil off my hand. And we're going to put this panel back. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start by getting it through this little section that it gets caught at, and then kind of hooking it on top. So just get it past this little panel, and we're going to latch on the top piece first. Again, this is not the easiest air filter due to the design, but it's definitely manageable. So we've got the bottom clipped in, we've got the top clipped in, accompanied by that verbal click, and we're all set. So next thing we're going to do is take it outside, because you never want to start these inside. You never want to add fuel inside, so that we can start this guy and do our various little tests. So let's get to that. I'm just going to give it a few pulls here. Few light pulls, leave it in the choke position, and these light pulls are going to help get some gas into the carburetor. Except that this should only take a pull or two to get started. Also, it's good to circulate some oil. So got that done, everything set up right, fuel cap is on, choke is on, the on switch is on, auto idle's off. Let's see if this will start in a couple of pulls for us. Alright, so now I just take it out of choke. Already it's pretty quiet. Put it in eco mode. See our fan running. At 121.7 volts. Still at 60 hertz. So pulling a little over 30 watts. So let's test the DC function. Sitting at idle, we're getting 14.55 volts, which is actually pretty good. Your battery will not overcharge at that rate. Again, you only want to charge flooded lead acid car batteries. So you can leave that on your car, and that should bring it up to an appropriate enough level for it to start. Okay, so we're going to do a sound test, and we're just going to get a baseline here. So in or around 50 decibels. The factory or the company is claiming 68 decibels at its quietest mode. So in a really enclosed area, it's closed off on 3 sides, and you'll see that as I back out here, we're at about 77 decibels. Let's back up about 23 feet. So at about 23 feet, it's even quieter, at about 62 to 63 decibels. My voice is much louder, as you can see the meter moving up. So at 43 feet, earlier it was showing about 55 decibels, but the wind is blowing, so it's a little bit higher. We're at about 59. So what I'm going to do now is put it in its full output mode, i.e. with the equal throttle off, and see how loud it is then. So it's a little louder, 79 decibels right next to it. And again, it's going to do a little bit of surging while it's brand new and still breaking in. So 23 feet, just about 66 decibels. So at 43 feet we're at 57. I believe at this distance we're at 59 with the eco mode on. That's because the wind, it was actually around 55 without the wind blowing. So fairly quiet generator. So as always guys, thanks for watching. If you guys have any questions about this unit, go ahead and leave me a comment at the bottom, and I'll try and get back with you. So as always, thanks for watching. See you guys later. Peace.